Hello and welcome to Startup Street from the CNBC-TV18 eBix Cash studio. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me is Arundhati Ramanan. These are the top headlines from the startup space. The board of BharatPe remains upbeat even after co-founder Ashni Grover's allegation of arm twisting and manipulation. Sources say the report on corporate governance is likely in 10 to 12 days and charges against the company do not pose an unsurmountable challenge. That's an exclusive.
Former Twitter India head Manish Maheshwari's edtech platform Metaverse secures a first round of funding at a valuation of $33 million from Future Group's Kishore Biani, ex-Infosys director TV Mohandas Pai, Innovate founder Ritesh Malik, and former Facebook MD Kritika Reddy. Leaders from global companies such as Microsoft, Meta, Coinbase, Google, Twitter, Uber, Amazon, SoftBank, and others also participated in the funding round.
Venture debt firm Trifecta Capital raises 1,500 crore rupees in its maiden equity fund. Trifecta leader Fund 1, it is now looking to raise another 375 crore rupees by exercising a green shoe option. The fund has so far invested 730 crore rupees in 8 late-stage startups like Daily Hunt, LiveSpace, Cast24 and others.
Meesho will allow its employees to work from anywhere, adopting a boundaryless workplace model. Meesho aims to decentralize the workplace. It is giving its employees the power to choose to work from home, office, or any location of their choice. Founder and CEO says that leaders need to acknowledge that employees' psychological and physical safety is more important than their location of work.
Swedish price comparison firm PriceRunner is suing Google for about 2.1 billion euros, alleging the search giant manipulated search results. As per Reuters, PriceRunner said a lawsuit it filed in Sweden aims to make Google pay compensation for the profit it has lost in the UK since 2008, as well as in Sweden and Denmark since 2013.
Elon Musk's satellite internet venture SpaceX is helping to restore connectivity to the Pacific island nation of Tonga in Fiji, where the work is underway, Reuters reported. Tonga's sole optic fiber link to the internet and the rest of the world was severed by a volcanic eruption on January 15th, and only limited connectivity has been possible ever since then.
Those are the headlines we are tracking for you this evening. The Metaverse concept has been in the limelight for the past few months for the potential that it has in transforming new-age business ventures from education to entertainment. Betting big on this futuristic technology is edtech company Metaverse, and more than 70 top global corporate leaders and founders of unicorns have come together to back this cutting-edge startup, valuing it at $33 million. To talk about the offerings and the road ahead at Metaverse is its founder and CEO, Manish Maheshwari. Manish, welcome to Startup Street. The tech world has been abuzz with mentions of Metaverse and investors across the globe scouting for opportunities to invest in this future of technology. Manish, you've got over 70 global entrepreneurs on board. How much money have you raised so far, and what excited them about this idea?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, Shruti, for having me on the show. I think, all the top corporate leaders of some of the well-known companies, they see the future and the potential of the concept of metaverse when applied to the concept of education. And we are really overwhelmed with the kind of support we have gotten. I mean, if you think about it, I left Twitter only a month back, right? So for that period, it really seems like a very immense amount of support. So I'm really grateful to them. I think we can talk about valuations, other things later, but I think the core idea here is that, education is ripe for disruption, right? So when COVID happened, essentially education moved online, but then it was essentially a Zoom call or a Google Meet. And these platforms were not made for classroom learning, and these platforms were not optimized for classroom learning. So what essentially happened was that you as a student and a teacher were both looking at a flat screen and trying to make the best use of what was available. But what is needed is to reimagine how education would happen when things are virtual. And that would mean rethinking about what are the dynamics of a classroom, what are the right learning outcomes, where does the learning really happen? Does it happen in the classroom? Does it happen outside the classroom? And how would we do this if we can sort of recreate that entire social and community layer for learning, which has been missing so far? Manisha, so that's what we are trying to do.
Yes, really, Manish, and I want to understand how is Metaverse bringing the benefits of Metaverse to the world of education. If you'd explain how it works, from 2D to 3D, how it all works.
Yeah. So let's just start with a very basic concept as to what is Metaverse. So Metaverse is interoperable virtual space, right? So today, when you look at the internet, you're looking at a 2D content. You're looking at a website and you click on a website, you go to another website. Both of them are 2D in the sense that you are looking at them from a distance and it is appearing on your 2D screen. You are not actually inside it. You are not experiencing it. The difference now is that what if you can make it experiential, and rather than looking at a website or looking at a Zoom class, you can actually feel like you are inside the class and you can embody that internet or that feeling of being there. And you can feel that your classmates are sitting next to you, your teacher is standing in front of you. And that is the concept of Metaverse. And the way we are applying it, we are calling it Metaversity now. And that's a platform we are building. And that's possible now because the VR devices are becoming quite cheap now. In fact, if you look at the Oculus, the Facebook Oculus 2 device, which just came out, it's only about $300. That's about 25,000 rupees in India. And you can buy this on any online store. And that's as much a cost of a mobile phone. And our view is that in the next 2 or 3 quarters, the cost of the hardware will come down. Just as laptop became a classroom necessity a couple of years back, VR devices will become a classroom necessity going forward. Today, they are a Christmas gift. Like, for example, if you look at the last quarter data for the Christmas sales, more number of Oculus Quest 2 devices sold than the Microsoft Xbox. So that is just the beginning. Today, people are buying it as a gift. Very soon, it will become a classroom necessity.
Hardware is going to get...
have that device.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, hardware is going to get only cheaper. If you could quickly tell us, INVAC Metaversity is a 3D immersive virtual learning platform like you've just been explaining. Can you elaborate on the different kind of offerings and how does it facilitate peer-to-peer learning and what kind of traction have you seen so far?
Yeah. So if you imagine, like, if you think about like, how does the learning really happen? I mean, go back to the time when we all went to college. The actual learning happened outside the classroom, in the hallway, when you were hanging out with your friends in the library, in the auditorium, in the cafeteria, when you were discussing projects, when there was serendipity in the conversation, when you would drop into a conversation and learn about something new, right? Now, if you look at today, how online learning is happening, it is happening in 2 primary form factors. One is you are attending a class on Zoom where you have a live instructor, but you are basically looking at a square box and all the students are a square box and it's very scripted, it's very transactional. There is no social connect. There is no learning before and after the class. That's one primary form factor. The second primary form factor is there's a recorded video, a YouTube behind a paywall. That is how probably like I would describe all the online platform which are async, right? So again, very scripted, very lonely experience. Now compare that to an experience of a 3D space, right? When you are physically in a 3D, you experience it, you also get into conversations without a script. And that is what we are recreating. So if you were to visualize, I mean, of course, I would love to give you a demo if you could on the show, but the way to think about this is imagine a game like PUBG or imagine Roblox, how kids hang out on Roblox. It's a 3-dimensional space and you can actually walk into it. You can experience it. You will run into friends and people. The only difference here would be you will have to wear a VR device and you would experience as if things are happening around you. Rather than looking at it, you would actually feel like you're inside it. And this would be a 3-dimensional immersive experience. And that's the key difference between all the existing platforms and tools than this. And the way we are approaching is that we are building that ecosystem where we are building a few courses ourselves to sort of prove the point that, yes, the learning can be significantly improved. At the same time, a lot of universities are reaching out to us and course creators are reaching out to us saying, hey, we have been teaching this, how we can make it better. For example, IIT Madras reached out to us.
Yes.
So things like those are also in the offing.
All right, Manish, we would have loved to chat with you a little more, but we've completely run out of time. Many thanks for joining us today and wish you the very best with INVAC Metaversity.
Thank you. Thank you, Shruti, for having me on your show.
Moving on. It is estimated that by 2030, the Indian EV market will be around $206 billion. The union budget too reiterated on promoting electric vehicles as a means of transportation in the country. And in addition to existing financial incentives, the finance minister announced plans to implement a battery swapping policy and formalize interoperability standards. But as the electric revolution picks pace, India will be facing e-waste management as a hurdle in the EV ecosystem. In fact, at present, India is the third third largest electronic waste generator in the world after China and the US. To talk to us about how critical it is for India to be prepared for EV battery recycling, joining me now is co-founder and CEO of Attero Recycling, Nitin Gupta. Nitin, welcome to Startup Street. Like I mentioned earlier, the Union Budget announced a slew of measures to further bolster the adoption of EVs in India. The budget also emphasized transitioning towards a circular economy and touched upon lithium-ion battery recycling and, of course, electronic waste management. Your views on this?
Sure. Thank you, Shruti, for having me on the show. See, in my opinion, recycling lithium-ion batteries is extremely critical for a variety of reasons. First, at least 30% of the value of a lithium-ion cell is the value of metals that make it up, which include cobalt, nickel, lithium carbonate, graphite, manganese, and others. Each of these metals has significant ESG issue, which is environmental social issues, along with supply security issues. Take cobalt, for example. Almost 70% of the world's cobalt is mined in the DR Congo region, which is driven by child labor, terrorist regimes, what have you. But more importantly, at the current known utilization rates and current supply of cobalt, the world will run out of cobalt by 2030. Similarly, lithium. Almost 60% of the world's lithium is mined in the Bolivia-Argentina triangle, which is also considered the world's driest region. The reason is that traditional lithium mining is a water guzzling process. And just to give you some context, Shruti, to extract 1 ton of lithium using traditional lithium mining process consumes more than 500,000 gallons of water, right? And that's true for every battery material that's out there. So recycling of lithium and batteries and extracting pure battery grade cobalt, pure battery grade lithium carbonate, nickel, manganese dioxide, and putting them back in the supply sort of stream is extremely critical, not only from an environmental perspective, but a supply security issue, right? Extending it to the Indian market, India does not have any known reserves of cobalt or lithium. So for us to basically be self-reliant on critical battery materials, it's extremely critical that India sort of boosts lithium and battery recycling.
Yes.
And from recycling, we think we can make India self-reliant on critical battery materials.
Okay. Shifting focus to your operations now, Nitin. Attero Recycling is an electronic asset management company with expertise in developing eco-friendly reuse and recycling solutions for electronics and, extracting pure metals from all electronics and lithium-ion batteries. Take me through your technology. How do you perform this low-cost, end-to-end, eco-friendly electronic waste recycling?
Sure, Shruti. So see, there are two parts of the technology. One is for electronic waste recycling. Attero is India's largest electronic waste recycling company. We have 9+ global patents on recycling technologies for electronic waste. Patents are in US, China, Japan, other parts of Europe and Asia, including India. And we are the only electronic waste recycling company in the world to get carbon credits per ton of electronic waste recycled. The United Nations looked at our processes and agreed that, for example, the amount of energy involved to extract 1 gram of copper using Attero's recycling process is significantly lower than the amount of energy used to extract the same amount of copper from a virgin mine or any other secondary source of that material. Okay. On the lithium and battery side, we extract pure battery-grade cobalt, pure pharmaceutical-grade lithium carbonate. From end-of-life batteries, right? That's a significant technology that we've developed. And we extract battery-grade graphite, nickel, manganese dioxide. And we have 20+ patents on that particular technology in US and Europe, and many more applied.
Okay.
The technology is a combination of mechanical engineering, chemical engineering on the lithium side, and metallurgical on the electronic waste side.
Okay, and I believe you have plans to invest 300 crore rupees in lithium-ion recycling over the next 9 months. Nitin, take me through your lithium-ion battery recycling expansion plan and what capacities are you looking at?
So Shruti, we are expanding our current capacity by 11 times. We are building another 10,000 ton per annum capacity in India as we speak. And we are investing upwards of 300 crores. The new operations or the new capacity will come online by September of this year. And that's the expansion plan that we're working on right now.
Also, Nitin, you plan to expand your footprint via the franchisee route. If you could elaborate on those plans, how many franchisees are you looking at and who are you in talks with and what is the big play there?
Sure. So our current electronic waste recycling capacity, Shruti, is 144,000 tons of electronic waste that we recycle. We are looking to double that capacity by the end of this year. That's primarily through franchisees. The reason is that we want to create micro-entrepreneurs and have an e-waste recycling facility in every state in the country. And rather than do it ourselves, we want to make sure we partner with the best entrepreneurs in the field and provide more technology and help them sort of develop facilities and run it for us.
Okay, talking about partnerships, you already have a collaboration with MG Motors and other prominent players. Are you in talks with two-wheeler EV companies as well?
Yes, so across the board today, all of the large EV guys are clients of Attero, right? So whether you take sort of Hyundai, Tata Motors, Maruti Suzuki, Volkswagen Group, all of these are clients of Attero. On the consumer electronics side, Samsung, LG, Whirlpool, Godrej, Oppo, all of these are clients of Attero, and we continue to add more and more clients as we go forward, Shruti.
All right, Nitin, many thanks for joining us today. Wish you the very best with all your plans. It's time for us to slip into a quick break. Coming up, we interact with a unique game development startup as it plans to build a gaming metaverse from its latest funding. Stay tuned.